Level up with Dr. Leyland. Step into the future, the world is waiting now. Dreams are in the making, we'll show you how. From the books to the screen, from the stage to the stars. Level up your game, let's raise the bar. Innovation, inspiration, it's in our DNA. Breaking through the limits, we're paving the way. Level up, reach the sky, take the lead, don't be shy. Your story's worth it, your light will shine. At Level Up Academy, it's your time. Oh, it's your time. At Level Up Academy, we rise and climb. Empowered in your passion, your voice will be heard. Building a legacy with every word. From podcasts to pages, from business to art. Level Up's the place where it all can start. With heart and with vision, we're chasing every goal. Together we'll ignite the fire in your soul. Level up, reach the sky, take the lead, don't be shy. Your story's worth it, your light will shine. At Level Up Academy, it's your time. Oh, it's your time. At Level Up Academy, we rise and climb. Oh, we're trailblazing, breaking through the mold. Dreams are alive, let your story unfold. With courage and pride, we'll take the fight. At Level Up, we own the night. Level up, reach the sky, take the lead, don't be shy. Your story's worth it, your light will shine. At Level Up Academy, it's your time. Oh, it's your time. At Level Up Academy, we rise and climb. So let's level up and never look back. On the road to greatness, we're on the right track. Together we'll soar, together we'll thrive. At Level Up Academy, we're alive.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's CJ show without CJ. But this has been a tough couple of weeks for her since she's had a lot of family stuff going on. So I get to sit in, and we're going to talk about: do you reflect on your life and count your blessings? This is going to be a fun conversation because I've got my other sister here in the background. But before I jump into all of that, I want to go through some of CJ's announcements, like her Influencing You, which she does every Friday. So click the link just to follow up. This one was actually a month ago, the specific one, but she's doing these pretty much at the same time, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. So follow her and be able to find her on Influencing You, because she teaches a lot of stuff. Besides social media, it sounds like she's got a few more things coming up. So this is going to be a lot of fun to see what she's got. And she is just one of the greatest instructors anyway. And then this starts tomorrow. So scan the QR code, go to CJ's website. If you're on LinkedIn, you can go through it on LinkedIn. This is going to be an amazing conference. We have 3 speakers tomorrow. It starts off with CJ at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. in Eastern time. CJ's is the first one up, and then at 9 a.m. or at 8 a.m. it'll be me, and at 9 a.m. it'll be my sister Danielle. Then Tuesday it will be the rest of the gang. Um, so check it out. And you have to scan the QR code. You have to sign up, get linked in to be able to join us because this is in a private Zoom. Once you've registered, the codes will be coming out overnight tonight. So you register, you'll get the email that says, here's how to join, get you in. And there's a potential to get a certificate of attendance. So if you do show up to 1, 3, all of them, for whichever ones you see, you'll get the certificate of attendance to go with it. Then our current anthology, the author's call is open, and we're looking forward to the authors that are coming. Check it out, scan the QR code, email either of us. The emails are there. Grateful, a heart wide open. It's what it means for gratitude, to be grateful. And on top of that, it's with gratitude, it's a time when you were grateful for something and it really caused a pivot in your life. When we were talking about this, not quite a month ago, because I was with her down in San Diego at the beginning of April, she was asking me, it's like, what do you want for the topic on this? Because I lead this particular one, but we do everything together. So you've got both of us. And I had just had an interview that, because of her, I was able to get. So I said, I was thinking gratitude because I was just so grateful that she opened this door for me to potentially become an adjunct professor. And she just looked at me as like, well, but she was grateful for me and how I've supported her and everything. And so that opportunity wouldn't have happened if she wasn't grateful for me. And then I could turn around. It's like, but I'm grateful for you for this, and this. And we're going back and forth. It's like, okay, which came first, the chicken or the egg? That's really what it came down to. And that turned into grateful, a heart wide open. And I know this too. Your story, your heartfelt story could shift someone else's life. So look into it, check it out. We would love to have more people join us. We're excited to see what happens and how many come in and the stories, because really part of what we do when we do these anthologies is business aspect. So you can be talking about your business and gratitude. You can be talking about your personal life and gratitude. Where's the gratitude? What are you grateful for? The doors close at the end of this week, and on Saturday we're going to have a live Zoom with all our authors, CJ and I, and we're going to go through its introductions, it's getting to know each other, go through some of the basics of what it's going to be for the anthology, because we've had so many new authors with us on each of these anthologies. This is our 6th one. We never claim that we're going to be, but we've been blessed that the last 5 have all been #1 international bestsellers. So come join us. And I'm just going to pop out of this, say hi, everybody. It's lovely to see you. And like I said, CJ she's on her way home from an event, and it's been a trying couple of weeks for her. So I'm so happy that I can be here to support her, and I get to see all of you, and it's fun. And I mean, we've already got 500 on YouTube. It's so great to see you all. And now I'm going to bring up my dear sis. How you doing, sis?
Good. Happy Sunday, or I guess it's Monday in some places.
It would be, yes, it would. But yes, happy Sunday, and I'm excited about this topic because
You too.
we talk about it and we talk around it a lot.
Mhm.
So the idea of reflecting on life, looking back, and really counting those blessings. 'Cause I think oftentimes we forget to count the blessings. We're always looking at the past. It's like, I wish I didn't do that. I wish I didn't do that. I wish I didn't do that. But there's a lot of blessings mixed into all of that. And when you focus on that, that's when you get a much better, a much more positive mindset. So what do you think?
Yeah, I think that if you have an attitude of gratitude, it definitely does impact your outlook on life a lot better. When you focus more, even if you're having a rough day, it's like, well, I'm still here. I'm still able to be here with my loved ones. It can definitely change the trajectory of your day and definitely that moving forward, despite all of the hardships that you have, I think. So it's a good thing.
It is. And when I look back, because I often talk about um, cutting the chains to the past, because too
Mhm.
often we let the past drag us under the waves. That's kind of
Mhm.
how I look at it. It's like being on a boat, being on the waves, and when we let that chain just drag us under,
Ah,
because we're so focused on the past. And so when we're focused on the past, and it's kind of under us in this case, and that anchor is just dragging us and trying to pull whatever it is that we're on, a boat, whatever, under the waves, because we're so focused on it instead of just acknowledging it, cut the chains, don't let it drag us under, and focus on the present. Because I do like to say, if you focus on the past, then it will become your future, because that's all you're thinking about. Focus on the present and make the future your own. What do you think?
how do you follow that? Um, you know, I think this is a little bit of a continuation um, of your pre-birthday show, and we talk often about that uh, feeling of gratitude. Um, like if you think about it in terms of the boat, at least in my opinion, or like from my perspective, is if you set out that anchor, it's like it's going to drag you down, it's going to stop you in place, right? How can you move forward if that anchor is down? Like pull it up so you can get to where you're going. We can't move forward if we. It's okay to reflect on the past, right? And to move forward in a positive way, but just be happy for where you're at and definitely where you're going, which can be scary, everyone. I think sister's saying hi. So happy you all are here, over 500 on YouTube. Thank you for being here, everybody. Grateful.
Exactly. Well, and I was just thinking about it too as you're talking about it, because you often talk about pulling the anchor up, and I'm always thinking about dropping it, letting it go. Uh,
Oh,
and
love that.
so the vision that just came to me as we're talking about this is from the movie Battleship,
Hmm.
which is based on the Hasbro game. And the reason that jumped at me is there's a scene towards the end where they're on the battleship Missouri, and they're getting ready to fight fight the alien ship, to just try and blow it out of the water, because they need to get rid of this overhead screen that nobody can get through. And so they had dropped the anchor, and when they dropped the anchor, it stopped them dead in the water. And then the ship shifted, and they fire and everything. But then at one point, so I mean, they're stuck. They're stopped now. The engines are still going, but they're stopped. Then the order is given to cut the anchor, to just let it go. And the minute they let it go, the ship lurches forward and starts moving again, so that the enemy that's trying to target them, it had them in one spot, but now suddenly they've moved and they're not that easy target anymore. So in a way, looking at the past, that anchors what holds us in place. And when we cut it loose, that's when we start moving forward again.
Yeah, I mean, like, can't let the aliens get us, you know? Um, yeah, I mean, I didn't think of it that way. Like, I mean, if you think of the anchor as all of your fears, or I think sometimes we like to think of it as like a box, like, or things holding us back, right? Like, if we cut
Mhm.
it off, and I guess the reason why I say, to give it another interesting perspective, is the reason why I say to pull it up is like, that stuff, it's okay to be aware of it, and
Right.
not let it drag you down. But I mean, even better if, we cut it off and let it go. I mean, for neurodivergence, a lot of the time, I think, at least for me, is that if I don't see it, I don't hear it, it doesn't exist. And so it's easier for me to forget um, those things that held me back, instead of focusing on it. Like,
Yeah.
bye. What's that NSYNC song? Where's my husband? Bye, bye, bye. No, does anybody remember that song?
Sorry, I can't give you that one. NSYNC was playing and I was still listening to the 80s.
uh, you
I was
know.
still focused on the 80s and 70s because that was when I grew up. High school was in the 80s, so um, but yeah,
Mm,
I mean there's definitely something to be said for pulling the anchor up, just because number one, if it's the only anchor you got, you wouldn't want to give it up if you got a ship. But outside of that, it's you the way I look at it is whatever happened in the past does not mean that you have to um, forget about it.
yeah.
Because when I look at stuff that's going on, even now, things that I'm going through, and there's some traumatic things that are going on in my life.
Mm,
I am not. I am willing to forgive,
mm,
and I do
mm.
forgive. I don't forget,
Ooh.
and some would say that's the Taurus part of me. I've
Mm,
always had that ability. It's like I can forgive, but I won't forget, and that means I can still love you, but it has to be from a distance. I can't do it up close.
Tell it to the people in the back, sister. Go ahead. I think the people in the far, far back didn't hear what you had to say. I think they
But
didn't
I mean that's how it goes. For at least for me, when I get some of these people in my life that they really make things difficult, they and the stuff that they say is really painful and it hurts. So I mean, here's reflecting on
hear.
life, and some of this is even very recent. The comments made, the way they're made, the
Mm,
emotion that comes with them. I do not forget any of it. So even though I can cut the chain and let it go, I'm not gonna forget it. And
mm.
and so what I've realized, and this is how I have to do it, is I mean, faith is my foundation, and it says to love your neighbor as yourself, to basically love everybody. And it's like I can do that. I can love everybody in the world, no matter what they've done, how they've hurt me, whether directly or indirectly, but I will love them from a distance. And that doesn't mean
Mhm.
I don't see where there's anything there that says I have to like them specifically. So I see that as we're going to keep an arm's length. If you do something to me, I don't care what our relationship is, The minute you say certain words, the minute you do certain actions, I've turned off, shifted, and I'm off in another direction and just waiting for this situation to be over. That's really what it comes down to. And again, like I said, some of that is that Taurus part of me. And I know that.
I feel a song coming on, I think. Where's CJ? You know what song I'm thinking? Let it go, let it go. I mean, it is. I it's true. You know, like I think in life, what do they say, sister? Have you heard that phrase? Like, you know, there people are there for a season and a reason. You know,
Uh-huh.
not every some people are leaves. You know, but not everybody are roots, right? That are going to stick with you for life. You know, and but it doesn't mean that we forget the beauty of it or the time. You know, and I think that's maybe what you think when you know I don't want to say immaturity is not the maturity is not there, you know, but we have to reflect. And I think that's what the point of like being grateful for it all, the good, the bad, um, the time. And, you know, if you've served your purpose in someone's life and that connection or, you know, you've done someone to, you know, you've done something to hurt someone deeply, then, you know, if you really do believe you know, in love and faith, you know, you have to learn to let go. And you know, and remember that we can choose if you know to love, you
Mhm.
know, and love sometimes means letting go, and that letting go might not just free the person who has been bonded by our you know things that we've done wrong against them, you know, but it also might help us to grow in a direction we would have you know it's another anchor for that person that's holding them back maybe from you know where they're going. So it doesn't always have to be, you know, goodbyes don't always have to be sad. It can also be a reflection on the good times and the good. Choose that instead. I mean, it would be such a sad life if we would just you know every day hold that in our heart. Like no, there's so many there's so many other things to be grateful for and people to be grateful for. And while we hold ourselves back, we cannot love those people.
Right.
Ooh, ooh.
Well, I mean, okay, so let's take it to the second part of this too, on the count your blessings. Because when I look back and I think about what's gone on in life, I see the stuff that the good stuff
Mhm.
and the blessings in that. But there are times that the stuff that somebody did me wrong, it's it can also be a blessing.
Mhm. Yeah.
So really what it comes down to is how do you view blessings? What
Mm.
makes it a blessing?
Yeah, and I think you know they're not in a judgment way saying you know blessings are not always pretty, you know, like blessings are not just in I was telling my son on the way to his competitive basketball tournament yesterday, and I you know I said a lot of the things that you learn when you lose, babe. I call my kids babe, like and we learn from that, and that gives us more, you know, passion. You know, we be grateful for the losses.
Mhm.
Sometimes those losses come with tears. You know, sometimes reflection comes after people are gone, you know, or we've lost something or somebody, you know, hurt us. But the blessing is that now I know, you know, that if that behavior continues, that you know that maybe you don't love me the way that I loved you. And the blessing to the other side is, now I'm going to be careful about the love that I give to you. Ooh, sorry, not sorry. You got a song. Here we go. DJ, where are you?
I know she's missing out on all the music focus today. Uh, but as you talk about that, and it's like, okay, the ADHD just kind of took a squirrel moment, and I'm trying to get back to it. When you look at some of the things that happened, especially the negative stuff, and you see it, you see the blessings within it. Sometimes those blessings are what you needed to get your life turned around, to to start moving in the direction that you wanted to move in the first place, and maybe couldn't because of things that were going on.
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, whichever higher power, you believe in, there's sayings in multiple books, I'm sure. The one I know, at least the Bible, talks about that, when you are going through the most, that's the time sometimes that you're closest to God. And if you believe that trials were meant for us to go through, um, then take the lessons that you have and learn from them and grow. Be grateful.
And that is, there's lots of lessons that come from the good and the bad and the ugly, because I can't, you might be able to say those two without adding ugly, but yeah, I've seen the Clint Eastwood movie too much. So the good, the bad, and the ugly go together. It's all of it. But those blessings that we have, when I look at the past, and the way CJ and I connect in the first place is both of us saying what everything that happened in the past, we wouldn't change a thing, because to change anything in the past is to change who we are now. And when you can look in the mirror and love who you see, be happy where you're at, then why would you want to risk changing that in any way, shape, or form? And that's why, in some ways, I also say that sometimes those blessings are the things that were more like those roller coaster, the downhill slide of a roller coaster, because you learned something from it. It's part of what made you you at the moment that you are right now. And so when I think about, because she was asking me this over this past week, on I think both last Sunday and on her show Wednesday, it's like, what would you tell your younger self? I look at it this way. I shift it that it's not me talking to my younger self. It's me talking to a young person of that similar age right now. Because now is the time you can talk about your blessings. You can talk about the things that happened that may have helped to shape who you are now, even though they were really traumatic to go through. That's the things that you tell the younger kids now. You tell people in the now, so that it's part of what helps shape them going forward, as opposed to looking to our past and going, well, I would change this and this and this and this, and then finding out, if you had the ability to see what would happen if that all if you made those changes, you could end up looking in a mirror at somebody that you don't like at all, because you know who you are now. To change anything from the past is to change everything about you.
Well, that might get too deep for some folk that don't like to go down that road. Um, you know, but yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of us spend our lives, you know, dedicated to helping people, and they people say like, "Oh, oh my gosh, you're so nice." Like, can't be real, right? A lot of people that do choose that life, right, and that path, it comes from a lot of pain. It's it might be because we might have gone through something that might have led us here to this point, that oftentimes, someone came up to me, someone was talking to me today. I was volunteering somewhere, and they said, "Hey, Danielle, would you help me with this?" And I just, empathy is putting myself in who I would be helping, the person I'd be helping in their shoes. I was once there early in my career, just not knowing where I'm going to go or where I'm going to be. And and I my suggestion was, this is what we do business wise. you know I would love to sit down and help, and sometimes it's best in person, just so that they know genuinely, I just want to help you. It's up to you what you want to do, where you want to go. But you know what did I say? If you know, then there's a responsibility for, you know at least for me, if you know, there's a responsibility to act. And and for me, that's definitely what life is about. I If I were to speak on to my younger self, to someone who would overcome the trials that, or the hardships that I went through, of course acknowledging my privilege, everyone, okay, you know but certainly everyone goes through a lot. I would definitely say enjoy the ride, you know and just take a moment, in the moment of, I know a lot of people are probably going through a lot right now, whether it's money, family, relationship, um, career. Take a step back a little and just think about maybe times that you thought, oh, this is the worst time or day of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And then look at where you stand now and say, instead of having, I know CJ talks about this, but instead of having a mindset, that it's the worst time, say, look at how much that I've grown. Look at where I'm at. Okay, thank you, love you. My daughter is going to grandma's, so that's, love you, babe. These are the things that were, bye, Auntie Susanna, she said. And that's what, like, I think if we tell ourselves the best is yet to come,
Yep.
it's like we put ourselves in a mindset that it's only going to get better. Even on those tough days that we think, oh my gosh, this is like the worst time of my life. Like, I'm not sure what, if we stay in that, it's like, how can we overcome? Because we're going to be stuck in that, we're anchored down by, I'm not good enough. I didn't rise to the occasion. I'm not good enough mom. I've told myself all these things, um, but when you let go of like, I am a great mom and we have a lot to look forward to, and I'm only growing. And oh my gosh, if I could just, even this one part of my life that just felt like I was not ever going to overcome it, blessings just find their way to me in those moments.
And that's important. That's counting those blessings, see them for what they are. Um, since I keep going back to music and songs, well, you keep going back to music too. But um, one of my favorite movies is White Christmas, and within it, one of the songs that's played is "Count Your Blessings" with Bing Crosby and oh, I can't remember the actress's name, but that's one of the songs is count your blessings before you go to sleep. Or actually, the words are count your blessings instead of sheep.
I
Uh,
don't
so
like that.
that's the word. That's the actual words of the song. And when you start going through those blessings, it's also gonna change how you're feeling because you're seeing what happened. And understand too, we really do have to look backwards on blessings.
Mm-hmm.
There are times that we have a blessing, and at that moment, you don't know that it's happening. You
Mm-hmm.
don't know it's happening until later. I've
Mm-hmm.
got so many examples of that in my life where I realized sometimes shortly after, sometimes it took years, maybe even a decade before I really understood the blessing that I received.
Mm.
So being able to see them for what they are, part of the reason of looking back to count your blessings is you may not at the time that you first do that. If you do it right now, you'll see a lot of blessings, but you may not see all of them. And then if you do this again, let's say in 6, 12 months when you do it, you catch some that happened at the time that you were doing those blessings now, but you just didn't see it. You weren't able to see it for one reason or another. It was done outside of your box, as it were, and there's no way you could have known about it until after the fact. Or
Well.
or you sit there and it's like you see something, and at the time it doesn't feel like a blessing. It feels like something bad is happening, and then you look back on it later, hindsight being 2020, you look at it, it's like, oh wait, that was a blessing. It was a close call. If that hadn't happened, then this bad stuff might have happened. So
Ooh, that's a little real too, friends. And holler to the 260 people still with us here. Thank you for being here. And that's some heavy stuff, sister. Like, I think 12, if I think about 12 months ago, I was going to say March. Wow. Is it already April? Everyone, yeah,
it's
it's almost
almost
May.
May.
I'm going to have a 6-year-old
We're
and
days away from the month of May.
a 6 and a 10-year-old. Oh, well, two people. Hi, friends. Well, the two people, we're so grateful. And it's just 12 months ago. Oh man, I did not know how I was going to overcome. I mean, two
Mhm.
strokes. I think at that time maybe 10 days ago was another 12 months. My husband had a TIA and mini stroke for those of you who are familiar with that or not familiar. And it's like, how could you be grateful for that? Well, listen, when you caregive for someone, um, you know, and you've gone through losing both in-laws and then your husband having a stroke and then having a TIA after he had two strokes. How can anyone be grateful for that? But I think I say like it just makes you stop and really smell the roses. Like, whoa, we could have lost them.
Bingo.
And I, in whatever form, my husband, I'd much rather have him with me than not. And I'm extremely blessed and grateful, that he's been able to overcome and, by the grace of God that we've been able to see another day. And every day, I'm thankful for him being here still. I don't know that I would have been as close to Susanna. And that was certainly a blessing. And, like on those really hard days that I didn't think that I was going to get through. I mean, I'm just sobbing and Susanna's just there, like that type of friendship. Um, what do they say? Like, you know, go through something and really see who's really there.
Right.
Um, and I, I think when you go through that, you think, oh no, it feels very lonely, and it can still feel very lonely. But those are the best times to count your blessings,
Mm-hmm.
and to pray for everything, life, strength, mobility. These are things we take advantage of. Like my husband, can't walk without a device. Um, but he's still here. Some people that go through what he went through or goes through every day, they can't walk, but he has a chance. That's a wake up call. And and the question here, I guess, from our sister is, do you reflect on your life and count your blessings? And I think the hardest times, and when you're going through the most, it's hard to ask yourself, but putting it into perspective, um, as a daily, puts your mind at, in a different direction. How about you, sister? Because I know you're going through a lot right now too.
Oh yeah, going through a lot, um, and knowing where my blessings are, knowing who I'm grateful for. When I think about it, and this is not the first time through this rodeo, but it is it's the first time that I went through it with people I could trust.
Mm,
And I've been thinking about that too, because all day there's been stuff going on, and as I think about it, I know where the trust is, and I know where the trust is lost. So there's the reflecting on your life, and it's not exactly a blessing, yet I suppose I could consider it a blessing in that I know the how and the why that trust is lost
mm,
in certain situations. I know what was done, so I'm cognizant of it.
mm,
Again, I it's a case of I'm not going to hold on to it in a
mm.
negative way. Let it go, forgive it.
Fair song.
And in this case, it is a but.
Mm,
Um, I'm not going to forget, and I'm not going to place my trust there anymore, which means I am not going to open up with certain people because I do not know if they are going to. I can't trust that they will not tell other people. And the thing is, I've had this issue in both of these situations where things were told that I had never approved to be told.
mm. Yeah. I mean, that could be a whole other show. I think I said that to my son today. I said, honey, and I don't think he meant it, but, I said, maybe your sister didn't want to tell everybody that. And it was innocent. Um, and he was like, and I was like, well, how would you like it if we, at least told a secret about you? And he goes, I wouldn't like it. And I said, at least did you want him to tell? And she said no.
Right.
And and so, sometimes I feel like if we were more like innocent kid like in some things, if you just listen to a kiddo say like, I'm sorry, mommy, that I, was being silly when I was, and I'm like, it's okay. I get silly sometimes. But like thinking of that, like so easily to like move on, like that innocence doesn't have to leave us. It's just a choice that life teaches us not to. Like, why not? let's let it go, let's move on,
Mm-hmm.
and let's just count and look at the good things that happened. Let's be aware of the things that we didn't like. And I would think that it's a blessing, at least in your case, that you're wiser, right?
Right.
And I would think, like, if anything you take from a hard situation where someone might have hurt you, or that we allowed, because let's take accountability, right? Like, we allowed someone to, that it's a blessing that we can acknowledge it for ourselves and make a choice to move forward. It's a blessing.
It is. And we need to keep that in mind, because like you said too, there are times when we allowed certain things to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Mm.
we have to be able to forgive ourselves in those situations,
Yeah. Mm.
understanding that what happened, just because it happened, just because we let it happen, we can't necessarily look down on ourselves for it, because in the moment, oftentimes it's hard to see the truth of what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that, the three of us know this one very well, because things that, just in my case, things that I went through, I had, and you guys heard some of what I went through.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to get that outside the box input,
Mm.
to say, okay, from outside the box, this is what I'm seeing, this is what I heard, this is what is happening.
Right.
And even the this is what is happening, it's how you see it. And sometimes I'm still not quite on that same page,
Mm-hmm.
for various reasons, whether it's
Right.
because of a history, because I still think I know certain things that
Mm-hmm.
aren't being seen. But having that outside opinion allows me
Mm.
to keep that in mind, so that when conversations happen, when things start up again, that I can have that more fresh, be more aware, and then understand if that really happened or not. Or I can, and it, for a lot of it, it allowed me to much better agree with things I'm being told that maybe I wasn't ready to agree with.
Mm. What's the sister say? And hopefully I'm on the point here, but like, discernment, right? Like, I think we'll call each other. I'm like, okay, tell the story, tell a little bit about what's happening. We're like, am I off here? Like, I'm feeling this, right? Like, bouncing off in a non-judgmental space is important. It's in a safe place, which definitely leads into tomorrow, right? Like, that psychological safe place to be oneself and feel um, comfortable enough to really be functioning on individuality and just self. I think, in especially being seen and safe, there's a different kind of comfort of that.
Hmm.
And it's a different, it's almost like a evolution of like love. Like, I didn't know that I could be seen and heard in the way that I am today. And gosh darn, what a blessing. That is like, what I'm, I, my too much is not too much. Um, I'm just me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and we feel, you know, those things, like I'm actually grateful for my ADHD diagnosis later in life. And while there are still challenges and I'm acknowledging that, like it's a blessing. I mean, I don't know that it would have led to you and sis. Like, woo. And we have 2 minutes. How did the time fly so fast? Anyways.
It always does. Yeah, and we all have that to deal with. But thinking through all of it, we all have things that we can look back on and see the positive. Like I said, it could be a negative, but you can still see the positive.
Yeah.
So always be looking to the past and see what happens.
Hmm.
Do you have
Don't.
something you want to close us out on?
Oh, I would just encourage you, anyone that's going through something tough in their life, to, even if it feels like it's not enough, like that you don't have much, that there are people here there for you, and you know count your blessings every day and let it guide you to a happier place.
And then I just want to, before I close this out, just say, okay, for everybody that was on LinkedIn, because I don't get to
Yeah.
go to LinkedIn right now just to see who's there
Hmm.
and
You have people there.
comments. So it's like we've got comments from Miles Lowe in Alberta and Mark Thummer. I hope I got it right.
And John.
Um, and John Charles Caldwell in Hong Kong. So Darius Media. So it's like it was. I'm so glad that you all joined us, and I'm sorry we didn't get to incorporate that, but that's unfortunately with the TV show, uh, this platform and LinkedIn, they don't like to communicate in a feedback loop that I would love to have, like we get just when we're doing StreamYard and LinkedIn, and we see everything. So thank you all for being here, um, and thank everybody for who's been here. We had a lot on YouTube as well. And this is something you just keep thinking about. Don't be afraid to reflect on your life and count those blessings, because it really is worth it, especially when you find blessings that you didn't realize at the time it was a blessing, but now you can look back and go, oh, that was definitely a blessing. So thank you all for being here. And the the academic conference starts at 7 a.m.
Bright and early.
tomorrow morning. So make sure you signed up for it so you can get the QR codes and stuff. And then my show is at 9 a.m. on Tuesday. CJ's got 9 a.m. Wednesday, 9 a.m. TV show Thursday. This is all Pacific time. So, as usual, it will be a busy week. And with that, I will say goodbye and thank you all for being here.
Mabuhay.
Bye.
Bye.